Welcome, everyone. Today we're chatting about everyday trust in relationships. You know, those practical tips that can really make or break how we connect with others.
I'm excited to dive in. So, what's the first key principle you think we should kick off with?
Well, the first big idea is essentially say what you mean and mean what you say. It's like if you commit to, say, helping someone move on Saturday, you actually show up on Saturday. That simple alignment of words and
Exactly.
actions is so vital.
Right. You're building reliability. And it's kind of interesting how making promises you can't keep can actually do far more damage than not promising at all.
Yes, exactly. It's like if you keep overpromising and under-delivering, you're essentially eroding that trust
Yep.
baseline. So the commitment to honor your word is critical.
That's a great point. And what about the idea that communication is key? It seems like clear, intentional communication is the next step.
Absolutely. It's all about communicating your intentions clearly. If you're planning a movie night or even contemplating major life changes, you need to say it clearly because your partner isn't a mind reader, right?
Yeah, exactly. That way there's no guesswork, no unspoken expectations.
Right. Let me give you an example. If you want a movie night on Wednesday, simply stating that intention avoids any misunderstandings. It's that sort of clarity that builds trust.
And then there's the matter of admitting mistakes, which I feel is really important. We all mess up sometimes, right?
Yes, indeed. Taking accountability and admitting your mistakes, it's an essential part of reliability. When you make a mistake, acknowledging it, asking how you can fix it, and committing to not repeating it really strengthens
Right.
that trust.
And it shows you value the relationship enough to be honest about your faults.
Exactly. And that ties into the idea of always telling the truth. Even though it might seem like a no-brainer, lots of people slip into little white lies to avoid conflict or save face.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, what's the stance on white lies then? I mean, sometimes a little white lie can seem harmless, especially when emotions are running high.
Well, here's the thing. While a little white lie might save a momentarily awkward conversation, these untruths tend to accumulate over time. They undermine bigger conversations later when it matters most. It's better to say something like, I'm not sure yet, can I get back to you? Rather than fabricating a story.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. It's like each small slip reduces the reliability of your word over the long term.
Exactly. And then the last tip is to be consistently consistent. It's not just about big moments. Everyday actions count. You build trust step by step, day by day.
Yes, indeed. I really like that idea. That building trust is like a marathon, not a sprint. You practice one tip for, say, a couple of weeks, then move on to the next. It's about being patient with yourself and with your partner.
Right. It's all about the incremental progress. I mean, you can't expect overnight transformations.
Yeah, exactly. And these principles apply not just in romantic relationships, but in friendships, families, practically every kind of bond, right?
Absolutely. Whether it's a professional relationship or a personal friendship, the idea is the same. Reliability, clear communication, accountability, and truth.
Spot on. Now, I've seen some folks argue that sometimes a little flexibility might help in certain cultural contexts or personalities. Do you see any room for that? Or is consistency absolutely key?
That's a good challenge. I mean, while there might be cultural nuances in how people express themselves, the core idea is still grounding relationships in trust. Consistency builds predictability, which is fundamental. Although I can see where sometimes a dash of flexibility can help in smoothing over minor issues. But you must be careful that flexibility doesn't turn into loopholes that undermine the consistency itself.
I see your point. That makes sense. It's like you need just enough rigidity to hold everything together, but a touch of fluidity to adapt to life's surprises.
Exactly. And speaking of adapting, there's also the aspect of coaching and structured guidance. There are programs based on research, like the Gottman Relationship Advisor, which uses established research-based tools to measure and enhance relationship strengths.
Yep, I've heard about that. Right. I've seen those tools and multimedia resources as well. They help couples see what areas need work and provide steps to move forward, like guided relationship wellness programs.
Precisely. But at the heart of it, All of these tools ultimately underscore the everyday behaviors we just discussed: honoring commitments, clear communication, owning up to mistakes, and always telling the truth.
Absolutely. And don't forget that it's a process. Like you might focus on one tip for a couple of weeks, then integrate the next one. That incremental approach is crucial.
Yeah, it's such a realistic way to approach trust building. No one expects perfection. It's more about gradual improvement.
Right. And when you look at it, these everyday practices complement each other. For instance, clear communication makes it easier to admit mistakes when they happen.
Exactly. It's like a ripple effect. Once you start practicing these habits, they reinforce each other, creating a robust foundation of trust.
Yeah, exactly. It almost feels like you're investing in a long-term bank account. Each positive action is like a deposit into the trust fund of your relationship.
That's a neat analogy. It's like each time you keep your word or communicate clearly, you're building interest over time. And trust, after all, is compounded over little everyday moments.
So true. However, I wonder if there might be situations where being too rigid with rules might feel stifling. What do you think?
That's a fair critique. It can feel like rules might limit spontaneity. But I'd argue that these aren't strict rules like a rule book. They're more like gentle guidelines. When both partners understand them, they're free to be spontaneous while still maintaining that underpinning trust.
Right, exactly. So it's a balance then. Too lax and trust erodes, too strict and it stifles natural connection.
Yes, precisely. And it's important to revisit and adjust these practices as a relationship evolves. Simple everyday habits contribute, and over time, they build that deep-seated trust.
Yes, indeed. It's interesting how these everyday tips are so interdependent, like a living, breathing system of trust.
Totally. And honestly, once you start applying these tips, you begin to see how even small changes almost ripple out to create a more secure and honest relationship
I love how that
dynamic.
works. It really is a comprehensive approach, from being reliable and accountable to communicating clearly and embracing honesty.
Exactly. And whether you're in a romantic relationship, friendship, or even professional setting, these tips are widely applicable. It's a toolkit for everyday trust building, ensuring your relationships stand the test of time.
Yes, absolutely. So, to wrap up, it seems like the key takeaways are: keep your promises, communicate your intentions openly, admit mistakes when they happen, and always be honest, all of which gradually build a foundation of trust.
Right you are. And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. By focusing on small, deliberate actions over time, trust grows naturally.
Indeed. Thanks for this deep dive. It's refreshing to break down these concepts and think about how we can each, practice these daily in our own lives.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining in on this conversation. Until next time, keep nurturing and growing that trust, one day at a time.